The key to ensuring security and stability in Europe is in expanding cooperation and rebuilding trust, not in deploying new military bases and military infrastructure close to Russian borders, which is what is happening right now. Such aggressive actions posing direct threat to Russia, we will respond to them appropriately. To our colleagues who seek escalation, trying to draw Ukraine or Georgia into NATO should consider the consequences of their irresponsible policies. What we need today is constructive, positive agenda, bringing our positions closer. This is what we discussed in my meeting with US President Donald Trump. Even though our views are vastly different, we both agreed that relations between Russia and the US are unsatisfactory. In many ways, they are even worse than during the Cold War. It would be naive to think that problems that have been accumulated over the years can be resolved within just a few hours. Nobody expected that, of course. Still, I believe that we've started on our way towards this goal. It is good that we finally had an opportunity to have a proper meeting. We'll have to wait and see how events will unfold, especially considering that certain forces in the US can want to play down the results of the Helsinki summit. Well, I would like to say now a few words ad lib, in a way. We know that there are certain forces in the United States which would be happy to sacrifice US-Russia relations for the sake of their domestic political goals. They are ready to sacrifice the interests of their businesses. US companies are losing millions in contracts, losing jobs. Their cooperation with Russian partners. These are tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of jobs. They are willing to sacrifice the interests of their allies in Europe and in the Middle East. For example, I'm referring to Israel. We also talked about the Golan Heights when we talked about Syria. And it seems like they're not interested in that. They're also willing to sacrifice the issues of their own security. I'd like to point out to you that in 2021, the New START treaty will expire. We can live without this treaty. Just a few years ago, we could have lived without this treaty, but we did the right thing and signed this treaty. And we need to start working today to to extend this treaty. Otherwise, in a year and a half, it will just run out its course, and there will be no more treaty any longer. When I talk about these forces in the United States, this is not in line with our political philosophy, because we've always been taught that people who work for the state in the interest of their nation should first and foremost think about the fundamental principles, fundamental values of their country. But no, there are forces in the United States that only care about their own private interests. These are the kind of people who are pitiful, petty, despicable people, as they were described in Soviet books. But on the contrary, I think these people are quite smart sometimes. For example, when they want to feed their stories to people, they use this as a pretext. They do this not to praise someone or to criticize someone. The reason I mention this is because I want us to take this into account in our practical work when we deal with Americans. These are just facts that we face today. Still, Russia is open to develop contacts with the United States. as long as they're based on equality. This is not something that just our two countries need. The whole world needs this. Being two nuclear superpowers, we have special responsibility for global security and stability.